You've been told to do breath work, movement, and somatic healing to regulate your nervous system. But what if that's only one part of the equation? What if no matter how much breath work you do, you still feel exhausted, stuck, and dysregulated? The truth is healing is not just neurological, it is also biochemical. Your nervous system relies on minerals, amino acids, neurotransmitters, and metabolic energy to function properly. And if you're depleted, no amount of breath work or movement will fully integrate. Hi, I'm Dr. Ari. I'm a functional medicine practitioner, doctor of physical therapy, registered dietitian, and I'm also a somatic healing practitioner and owner of the Movement Paradigm Integrative Health Center. So today I'm going to show you how a science-backed approach to healing that goes beyond regulation, one that restores, replenishes, and rebuilds your nervous system for resilience. This is the missing piece, I believe, in somatic healing. So let's dive in. So we'll start with the somatic healing hierarchy and why the order matters. So most somatic healing approaches start too far down the chain, focusing on things like breath work and movement first, while ignoring critical physiological imbalances. If your sensory input is distorted, your brain perceives a constant state of threat. So if you're nutritionally depleted, your nervous system doesn't have the biochemical support to shift out of survival mode. If you're weak and unstable, your body remains in this fragile state and prone to more stress. So that's why the healing must follow a specific sequence, although very individualized to each person. The first is sensory calibration, moving to breath work and nervous system regulation, and then to movement and strength. So start at the top of the chain and you stay stuck. Start at the foundation and you can unlock true healing. So let's break it down step by step. So step one is sensory calibration. So rewiring your input first. So this can include a variety of different things from grounding and visual tracking and so on. But before your nervous system can truly regulate, it must perceive the world accurately. And this is going to be based on the sensory information coming into our body. So if your proprioception, vision, or vestibular system is off, your brain remains in this constant state of unsafety or uncertainty. So an example of this would be someone that's in a chronic freeze state. So overwhelmed, they might have poor proprioception. Their brain doesn't know where their body is in space. This can reinforce shutdown. So you again can just stay in this vicious cycle. So how can we recalibrate sensory information? Grounding exercises. So actually stimulating the small nerves in the bottom of the feet, barefoot walking on different textured surfaces like Naboso technology, vestibular resets. So this could be things like gentle rocking, gaze stabilization, gentle head movements. Visual training could be blinking drills, peripheral awareness, tracking exercises. And the physiological support at this stage is also very important. This is where we want to be thinking electrolytes. So sodium, potassium, magnesium is so critical for proper nerve signaling. Protein and amino acids, so things like dopamine and GABA support for nervous system stability. Our neurotransmitters are going to be functioning and produced based on the amino acids that we are ingesting and absorbing. So if we've been in a chronic fight or flight state, then that also can indicate that digestion has been poor, most likely absorption has been poor. So we want to really think about repleting and getting enough of these amino acids and electrolytes and so forth to be able to truly repair physiologically. So why does this step matter so much? Because jumping into things like breath work and a lot of nervous system exercises too soon can often keep people stuck. So step two, we're going to move into breath work and autonomic nervous system regulation. So this can include a wide array of different things and once again should be bio-individual. So once sensory input is stable, we can begin to shift towards more autonomic regulation. So this can mean that we can retrain our stress response. So the appropriate breath work for you at the right time can help reset the nervous system, but only if your body is ready for it. Sometimes it can be actually triggering. It can bring up past trauma. So some of the key techniques that we like to think of here are an extended exhalation. So this is going to help to extend the vagus nerve signal for safety. It's going to release acetylcholine for a relaxation response. We can also consider things like breath holds. And so breath holds can be very valuable during this time to improve tolerance of CO2 in the bloodstream. But this has to be done with caution. If there's some type of airway disorder or a potential for hyperventilation, then I wouldn't suggest this at this time. But Buteyko method can be an extremely powerful breathing technique to help improve breathing capacity. And essentially, these techniques can reset respiratory chemoreceptors, which can be extremely powerful in healing. Nasal breathing retraining. So this can prevent our overbreathing and improve autonomic function. The physiological support at this stage can include things like blood sugar stability. So protein-rich meals, coupling them with maybe a fiber source and fat source to prevent nervous system stress. Deep sleep for nervous system reset. This is critical for neuroplasticity. So this is a really foundational step. And why this matters is that if sleep and metabolic function are disrupted, you cannot override a dysregulated nervous system. So step 3 is going to be restoring movement and strength. So this is where we have so many different practices, and this is often where people start. And sometimes that can be totally fine, and then other times this cannot be okay. So once we have sensory input and autonomic function that is restored, the next step is building movement resilience. Strength is this final layer of nervous system integration, and without it, people remain very fragile and overly sensitive. So when we're thinking about our different key movements for somatic reintegration, ground-based patterns like crawling, rocking, rotational movements can be extremely powerful. Walking and weighted walking, like rucking, can mimic ancestral movement patterns for nervous system balance. Isometric strength training can be very safe and effective and help to stabilize neuromuscular control, and then move into more complex and higher loads. The physiological support at this stage could be things like creatine and CoQ10. So this can support ATP production for sustained energy. Electrolytes and adaptogens can help prevent fatigue and nervous system dysregulation. And why does this step matter? Is because without strength, the nervous system never fully stabilizes. It keeps people stuck in this fragile state, and they keep coming back to this dysregulation. So why is this approach different? Hopefully you can already appreciate that it might be slightly different than what you're used to doing. And it doesn't mean that one way is right or wrong. It's just that when we can begin to think about a hierarchy, most healing protocols focus on regulation, calming the nervous system down. But true healing is about adaptation. And so when we can address somatic healing in this order of sensory input, autonomic regulation, then movement, we can integrate electrolytes, nutrients, metabolic repletion. We can move beyond calming down to building resilience. And that is where the magic is. The key is not just to regulate, it's to train your nervous system to adapt to life stressors, no matter what they are, how big or how small they are. And so how can we reintroduce healthy stress? I've mentioned a lot of things, but even just something like walking and loading walking. It could be things like testing tolerance, like saunas, for example, can force nervous system adaptation in a very gentle way. Potentially these breath holding drills to build up CO2 tolerance. This can build resilience to perceived suffocation, if you will, which is a common stored trauma response. Rhythmical movement can engage the cerebellum and the limbic circuits for emotional processing. And regulation is super important, but ultimately resilience is the goal. So if you've been stuck in somatic healing without results, this may be why. It's time to stop focusing necessarily just on regulation and start to integrate full spectrum nervous system recovery. And if you're interested in more and this was helpful, please give this video a like, comment below, and of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this on whole body wellness through integrative and root cause medicine. Feel free to join our app, which is the Movement Paradigm app on Apple or Google. We have a nervous system bundle that provides lots of different nervous system exercises to help you on your journey. And of course, you can reach out for individual help, and you can reach us at themovementparadigm.com. Thank you as always.